Hello, I'm Sophiralou and welcome to my channel.
Hello guys, and welcome to this month's video in which I'll be doing the Sharpie challenge. The first thing I'm going to do before we dive into the actual challenge is I'm just going to show you the blending differences between the Pro marker range which I use and the Sharpies. I've tried to choose very similar colours, which is purple and pink. So just to show you, the Sharpies are really good if you want strong, bold colours. As for blending, they are not the best. I would say that the major difference between alcohol markers and with the Sharpies is that you not only have a wider range with any alcohol markers, but the blending tends to be much smoother in the actual alcohol marker range than it would do in the Sharpies, and in my experience anyway. Sharpies are fantastic, they are cheap, they are easy accessible for anyone for a first time buyer. But my first thing would be for anyone who wants to use Sharpies, please use them in an extremely well ventilated room. Make sure you take regular breaks while using them, just as a PSA by the way, just to make sure that you aren't hurting yourself when you're drawing. Alcohol markers, I've never had a smell with them, never had a problem with them, but some people obviously do have very sensitive noses and they say that the alcohol markers do have a slight smell. But Sharpies are very potent because they are permanent markers. So if you are looking at using Sharpies as a cheaper alternative to get yourself started off so you can understand blending, feel free to, but as a warning, please make sure you use a well ventilated room. Anyway, let's go on about this challenge. A challenge to me is stepping outside of your comfort zone and using equipment that you don't normally use to create a finished product. I don't use Sharpies. I have never used Sharpies in my entire art career. The only time I probably used them is to mark something down on a book or to write something down on my old books, like the front of books. I've never used them for colouring, because I absolutely hate the smell of Sharpies. This was highly requested by quite a few people in some of my older videos for me to do the Sharpie challenge, and I found this awesome set, which is the theme for them was electro pop, and I was like, oh my god, I want to do this really cool like 80s inspired piece with lots of really bright colours and to make it really colourful and really good. And I had a lot of fun with this. I did have to take a lot of breaks with this simply because the smell of the markers was so potent, but other than that I had an awful lot of fun with this. I will say, for anyone who is starting off, like, a lot of people will probably say to me, oh, Sharpies, I use them all the time, it's not a challenge, or, you know, I don't see the challenge in this. Essentially, when you are doing a challenge, you are limiting yourself in what equipment you used. Obviously, I sketched this out before I started the video, so then I had a clear idea of what I was working with, as well as worked out on a couple of sketches in my sketchbook. I used all the electro pop markers that I had, well, the electro pop Sharpies that I had, as well as a white gel pen, just to accentuate little areas and make areas pop where the marker couldn't quite let me touch because it was bleeding in certain areas. This is a fantastic challenge if you are really looking at comic book style colouring. And what I mean by comic book style colouring is very, I'm going to explain this, very like harsh shading and harsh lines, and like the shadow is in one area. It is a very comic book style of colouring. This is something that's very common in use with most comic books, but a lot of people tend to go for the painterly style with a lot of things. If you're looking for subtle shading, comic shading is the one for you, and Sharpies are a lot of fun to work with. I find that they're very difficult to blend, which is why I don't use them, and I much prefer alcohol markers. And this isn't me singing the praises just for alcohol markers. Sharpies do have their benefits. They are bright, they're colourful. You're going to get a really popful, really arty, fun illustration when you're using Sharpies. However, like I said, the colours are very wonderful and bright, but I find it very difficult to blend. You can see I was trying a little bit of blending here by doing my usual technique as I would do with my markers, but this technique does not work with Sharpies because they are a permanent marker. I tried to do a bit of research into what the ink was on these, what it recommends, etc, etc. This is just done on standard mixed media paper. I had a little bit of bleeding, but not too much. It was just an awful lot of fun to do. I just really wanted something fun, something colourful, and this was perfect with the Sharpies. I would have much preferred to have done my proper blending techniques that I would have normally have done with my pro markers, but unfortunately you can't do that the same way that you would be able to, just because you can't keep the marker wet. And what I mean by this is, when you're layering your colour down, you can build on top with different shades and this will not eat into the paper. Now, this didn't eat into the paper with the Sharpies, but the colours were getting very dull when I layered them on top of each other. This is because the ink isn't wet and it's not allowing the other ink on top to desaturate the colour that's on top of it, underneath it, and it doesn't work the same way. You have to find a different blending technique to be able to work with this. I just had a lot of fun with this, and I do recommend, if anyone is wanting to try out the Sharpie challenge, please do. Maybe you can learn some new shading techniques. I certainly learned that it was more about having fun and making stuff pop a lot more, and using colours I don't normally use. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed my sort of like insight to this and my sort of like work in progress and what you may not normally see with my sort of work. I just wanted something fun, something poppy, and I really enjoyed doing this. If you guys have any recommendations for any challenges for future videos, please leave a comment down below and let me know what you would like to see me do. There is a link that will pop up to show you the full playlist of all the previous challenge videos I have done before. If you wish to check out more content from me or see content from me in the future, maybe subscribe to this little channel and leave a like if you like the video, and a comment down below on whether or not you've used Sharpies before, and if you have, link me to your work. I want to see what you have done with these products. I really hope you've enjoyed my video, and I really hope you've enjoyed my take on the fun, adorable Sharpie challenge. Have a great day, folks, and as always, stay creative.